some fun today. It's time for music class. It's time for music class. We are singing, tracking the talker, sitting nice and tall, hands in our lap, voices up. Thank you. Here's what we're doing in music today. Elementary Academy scholars will be able to move to music, discover our rhythm of the day, discover the life and music of Antonio Vivaldi, and listen to and analyze some music of his. So the first thing we're going to do is move to music. I'll make my face a little bit smaller here. We're going to do our rhythm exercises. We're going to do squats again today. So just in case anybody missed it, we're going to do squats to the beat. And then as we do those squats, and as we feel that beat going through our bodies, we will say the chant that's on this chart below. So it's going to sound like quarter note, one beat, ta, 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 ta. Half note, two beats, ta, ta, and so on and so forth. Our goal is to have this kind of memorized a little bit. I think that would be a great thing to do because we're going to be doing this until winter break. So, all right, so everybody find your space, stand up. I know you can't see my knees, but quick reminder, do a fist, wrap your other hand around it. Then you want to make sure your knees are kind of above your toes as you squat down. Okay, so here we go. Mm-hmm. Quarter note, one beat, ta, 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 ta. Half note, two beats, ta, ta. Whole note, four beats, ta. Eighth notes, half a beat, ti, 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 ti. All right, there you go. You can relax. Next week when we do our rhythm exercises, we'll do arm circles. So that'll be fun. Okay, next we're moving on to our rhythm of the day. So in our first video this week, we talked about this new sound. So we have ta, straight line up and down, tt, two lines with a brace across the top. And then now we have a new sound, which is sh. And it looks kind of like a little zigzag, a little squiggly line. When you see it, let me make myself big for a second. On sheet music, Mrs. Isles has a tattoo on her wrist. It'll look something like that. But for us, right now, just like a little zigzag, that'll do us good. So it says shh. What that really means is that we don't make sound. Some people just like to say shh to themselves to remember. We don't make sound when we see that. Okay? So here's our new rhythm today. So we're going to talk about it, we're going to clap it and speak it, and then we'll do it on a repeat. So the first thing I see, the very first kind of sound, is we have a tt, two straight lines, vertical with a brace across the top. Tt, tts move kind of fast, kind of. Tt, 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 tt. But we only have one tt, so a tt at the beginning. Next, we have a ta. Tas are kind of slow. It's just one straight line up and down. Ta, 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 ta. So the first two sounds are ti, ti, ta. Next, we have our sh sound. A sh and a ta last the same amount of time. The only difference is that when we see the sh, we don't make sound, and we see the ta, we do make sound. Okay? So those first three sounds are ti, ti, ta, ta. And with ta at the end, straight line up and down, kind of slow, it just makes one sound on its own. Okay? So I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm just going to do this once by myself, and then I want you to do it once with me. Okay? And then we'll do a repeat. Here we go. Ti, ti, ta, ta. Do you notice that when I get to the sh, I separate my hands. That's because I want to make doubly sure I'm not going to make any sound when I see that kind of note. So let's do it together, and then we're going to do it on a repeat. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Tee-tee-ta, ta. All right, now we're going to do it on repeat. When I get to that sh, not only am I separating my hands, but with my mouth, I'm doing sh, sh. I'm making that sound even though I'm not doing it very loudly. So if you want to kind of whisper sh to yourself, that's a good plan for me, because then I know we're not going to make any noise. All right, so we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to do our tee-tee-ta, sh-ta on a repeat. We're going to do it 4 times through, and then we'll fine. Stop. Okay, so ready? Here we go. Tee-tee-ta, ta. Tee-tee-ta, ta. Tee-tee-ta, ta. Tee-tee-ta, ta. There we go. We're going to keep working on our rhythms of the day. Next week, we're going to be working with T's, tas, and sh again, but I'm going to mix them up in a different order. Okay, today we're talking about Antonio Vivaldi, who's a famous composer. On this page, I just thought I'd write down some things I know about Vivaldi that I think are important for you to know. I tried to keep this one short, and then we're going to listen to his most famous piece of music. So here's what I wrote. He was born in Venice, which is in Italy, on March 4th, 1678. That's a long time ago. Of all the composers we've studied so far, he's the one that lived the longest amount of time ago. There was an earthquake on the day he was born. I don't know why that's important, but I think that was a very interesting fact to learn. We don't really get earthquakes here in Minnesota very often, and even when we do, they are very, very minor. Most people in Minnesota don't feel them. I have an aunt who lives in San Diego, California, and I always wonder if my aunt ever feels earthquakes. I think that would be kind of scary. He was taught violin by his father. In that picture next to the words, you'll see him holding a violin, just so you can see what a violin looks like and about how big it is. When he was age 15, he went to study to be a priest. So that would be, in our time, maybe around the time you were in 9th grade or so, he decided he wanted to be a priest. That's pretty young to decide what you wanted to do and to go off to start to study that. Pretty cool. He had a nickname, and he was called the Red Priest. And he was called the Red Priest not because he wore red clothes, even though that's what the picture shows, but it's because he had bright red hair. In the picture there, he's wearing a white wig, a powder wig, and that was just kind of the fashion of the time. But he, underneath that wig, had bright red hair, so he was called the Red Priest. He had asthma, which I think is kind of interesting. My brother has pretty severe asthma. And because he had asthma, he couldn't maybe sometimes play wind instruments like a trumpet or a French horn. He also maybe sometimes couldn't sing as much as he wanted to because he didn't have the lung capacity. So for those who don't know, asthma is a respiratory, I mean the lung illness, where sometimes your airway gets kind of tight and you can't breathe as well. So because he couldn't really sing as much as he wanted to, and because he couldn't play those wind instruments, he really focused on violin, because to play violin, you just need your hands. You don't need your lungs as much to do it. So he learned to play violin, and while he was working to become a priest, he started working in an orphanage. An orphanage is a place where people live when their mother and father have passed away or can't provide for them. So he taught violin at that orphanage, and he wrote music for everyone, and he wrote a lot of music. He was one of the first people that wrote music specifically for children, and he wrote music, a lot of violin music for those children that lived at the orphanage, and he wrote music for adults and students, and he kind of wrote music for everybody. His most famous piece is called The Four Seasons, and that's what we're going to listen to today, and I'm very excited because I love The Four Seasons. Okay, so those are some things you want to know. Biggest things are probably that he was a priest called the Red Priest. He wrote music for everyone, and he played the violin. And he wrote The Four Seasons. So now we're going to analyze some music in kind of a cool way. So you need a whiteboard. I got my whiteboard right here. And something with which to write on it, a whiteboard marker. Let me get mine. If you don't have a whiteboard and a marker, you can use a notebook and a pencil. That's cool. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read for you a song. And then in the description below, I'm going to put links to the songs from the Four Seasons. And as I read this poem to you, I would like you to draw a picture that matches this. Draw a picture that matches these words. Ready for the first one? This is called Spring. Joyful spring has arrived. The birds welcome it with their happy songs, and the brooks and the gentle breezes flow with a sweet murmur. The sky is covered with a black mantle. Thunder and lightning announce a storm. When they are silent, the birds take up again their harmonious songs. Okay, so hopefully you have the start of a picture done. I'm going to play for you Spring from the Four Seasons. Now, this is a really long song, so I'm just going to play the very beginning of it. And I want you, explore more, as the music plays, to add to your picture, and I'm going to do the same. Like I said, if you can't hear it, I put the link in the description below. I'm doing it a little bit different today, so you can just add to your picture by clicking that link if you need to. Here we go. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to finish this little drawing. What does this music make you think about? How does it match those words and what you just read? All right, I'm going to pause it there. So here's what I drew. I drew an apple tree, a bunch of flowers, and there's rain clouds raining down. And just at the end, you started to hear the music change a little bit, and that was when the storm was coming. Okay? Again, that link's in the description, so if you want to keep listening to it, that's cool with me. I would love to see some of your artwork. So if you have a phone, or if the grown-up you live with has a phone and you want to snap a picture of it, I'd love to see it and see if I can guess which one is the picture you drew for springtime. Okay, you can erase. I'm doing it with my hand. And we're going to move on. How many seasons are in a year? That'll tell you how many songs we're going to listen to. All right, next we have summer. So you can do the same thing. I'm going to read this poem to you. As I read the poem, I'd like you to start to draw a picture that matches those words, and then continue drawing your picture as we listen to the sounds of summer. Under the merciless sun, grows weak, man and flock. The pine tree burns. The cuckoo begins to sing, and at once join in the turtle doves and the goldfinch. A gentle breeze blows, and the north wind joins suddenly with its neighbor. And the shepherd weeps, because overhead hangs the dreaded storm and his destiny. So I'm going to play, hopefully this works, and we're going to add to our picture. And start to finish up. Okay, we're going to pause there. I'll show you the picture I drew, and yeah, like I said, if you want to snap a picture of this, send it to me. That'd be great. Here's what I drew. I drew a picture of that pine tree because it said the pine tree burns. I drew the wind. That's what these swirly lines are because it said the north wind blows. When I thought of the summer, I definitely thought of the sun, so I made a bright sun. Then there's the cuckoo singing his song. If you'd like to send me a picture of that, I think that would be wonderful. So, all right, so we did spring, we did summer. I just want you to think quick. Between those two, spring or summer, which one did you like more? I'd love to know that. All right, you can erase your boards like I just did. I'm going to make my face smaller. And we're going to do the same thing, but now we're in autumn. Autumn is also called fall. I'm going to read you this poem. As I read you this poem, I want you to start to draw the picture. And then as the music plays, you can finish your picture. At dawn, the hunters, with horns and guns and dogs, leave their homes. The beast flees, they follow its traces. Already terrified and tired by the great noise of the guns and the dogs, and wounded it tries feebly to escape, but exhausted dies. All right, so you're going to draw a picture. That's the song. About 20 more seconds. All right, we'll pause there. I'd love to see a picture of what you drew for autumn. I think that would be lovely. Here's what I drew. Now, it talked about a beast being hunted, but when I heard the music, it always makes me think of a deer in the forest. So that's what I drew. Not really a beast, but that's just what it made me think of. Okay, think in your head, which one did I like more? Spring, summer, or now autumn? Of the three, which one was your favorite? You want to snap a picture of that and send it to me? I would love to see it. All right, we did spring, we did summer, we did autumn. We got one left. This one is just a short little poem. The whole poem's a little bit longer, but I just picked just one little piece of it. So I'm going to read you the poem for winter. I want you to draw what that makes you think of. And then as the music plays, continue to do so. Frozen and shivering in the icy snow, in the strong blasts of a terrible wind. To run, stamping one's feet at every step, with one's teeth chattering through the cold. All right, keep drawing as we listen to winter. Starts off kind of quiet. Finish up in the next few seconds. Okay, last one was winter. Here's what I drew. A big picture. I drew a guy. He looks scared, but his teeth are chattering in the cold. And he's wearing a scarf and one of those hats that have the ear flaps coming down. And then I drew a bunch of snowflakes because it made me think of teeth chattering through the cold and being very cold in wintertime. I'd like to snap a picture of that with a phone or a tablet. Would love to see a picture of it. Okay, so we listened to all the 4 seasons by Antonio Vivaldi. Which season was your favorite? And now when I ask this question, I don't mean which do you enjoy more when you're outside and living in it. What I mean is listening to those 4 sounds, which did you like the best? I can tell you my favorite season is the season winter. I am not usually a winter kind of person. My favorite season to just be in and experience is the fall or the autumn. But when it comes to Antonio Vivaldi's song, The 4 Seasons, winter is my favorite. Now, the reason I read you these poems is because when Antonio Vivaldi was writing this music, he had read these poems. And he read these poems in a book. And he thought, wow, those are beautiful poems. I love these words. I wonder if I could write music that fits these words. And that's what he did. So as you listen to this, like Songs of the Spring, you can start to hear the thunder start to come in by the low string section. And when you hear the sound of the autumn and you hear the beast going through the woods and getting tired as it's chased by dogs and hunters, you can kind of hear that in the music and picture that if you really listen to it. So I wanted to see, well, Antonio Vivaldi was inspired by these poems to write this music. How does the poems and music inspire you as you're making your own artwork? I think it's kind of a fun activity. Again, if you'd like to send me some pictures of those, I'd love to see them. I'll put my email address down in the description below, and I would love to see some pictures by my elementary academy scholars. We only have one thing left to do today, and that is to do our train exit. So breathe with me, elementary academy. Here we go. Thank you for listening to Making and Experiencing Music with me today. I hope you have a magical musical day, and we'll see you next time.